Hello there, Timcast audience, friends, fans, subscribers. I'm making this video to give you the update on our end of the year show, and I feel like I am obligated to you to make this video now. We will not be, Timcast IRL will not be at AmericaFest 2025 this year. It is with a heavy heart that I say this, but we were not invited. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes in terms of tumult, grief, a change in views. There's a lot to break down in why we were not invited. And I believe that because we at Timcast IRL on the show, I as well as others here, had promoted ticket sales and encouraged our viewers to purchase tickets, I have an obligation to you to explain that we won't be there. AmFest is way bigger than me. It's way bigger than this show, and they can do whatever they want. I am a little saddened that we will not be coming. We were there 3 years in a row every year, and it was very amazing. And I am eternally grateful to Charlie Kirk and the crew there for having us out the way they did. And it's sad that the vision has changed in such a way. But I don't want people who have booked tickets and plan to go, hoping to see us, to be upset that we're not there. And I have had people asking me, wait, don't say anything. But I don't think that's fair to you, who we have told to purchase tickets. So we are now 1 month away from the event. And I know that most people attending are not just attending to see me. I think I'm actually one of the smallest portion of the event, and always have been. But we represent a bit of a different audience. But I do know that we have fans who show up for us. And I owe it to you to make sure you don't buy tickets or do something that you may later regret when you find out we didn't inform you after promoting the event. We're not there. So we won't be there. And this is due to, I was informed, comments I had made that were deemed hurtful to people there. And if that's the case, so be it. I get it. I'm not one to pull my punches. I criticize those that I deem to be critical. I don't think I said anything that should have been considered hurtful or offensive, but it is what it is. I think the management structure has changed as such that we are not welcome. And we're now at the point where, although I'm going to give you the full transparency and explain everything that's going on, there certainly are people at the event who do want us there. The concern that I have is that if there is any function of, we don't like what Tim has to say, I'm not here to create an awkward circumstance or bring any hostility. And so it's better that I just give you the full transparent view of where I think we are. I also want to add that I have frustrations with the politicking that is currently going on, not just related to Turning Point, but behind the scenes with many prominent personalities and politicos and politicians. I believe that people are pulling their punches, refusing to speak out because of concerns of the current infighting and the potential that things could break apart. And it is unfortunate. But I do believe that the sooner we rip the Band-Aid off, we can get refocused and try and figure out what we can do to maintain a movement and succeed in helping this country. There are many challenges ahead, certainly some of them the fault of Trump, that's for sure. And we're going to need to have an honest assessment about what is currently going on if we are going to succeed in the future. But let me give you the backstory of where we currently are and why I'm not invited to even attend AmericaFest. A few weeks before they murdered Charlie Kirk, the last texts I had sent to him, I asked him if we were still on for IRL, as we are with most years, because we wanted to get things booked in advance. Charlie told me he'd circle back the team. He'd get right back to me. And, I'm not a big fan of the revealing text or whatever, but unfortunately, they murdered him. They killed the guy who was holding everything together. I believe that Charlie was the principal voice, the strength, the glue that brought this movement together and was able to get a disaffected, moderate liberal type like me, skateboarding musician, weird guy in weird clothes, to come hang out with some suit-wearing conservatives and talk about how we can make this country better and build the movement. I truly believe Charlie would have been president someday. Following his murder, we were in constant communication with the team over at Turning Point, as we're largely friends, and my staff are friends. And we wanted to wait to be graceful and understanding on the grief. So we didn't press the issue. However, in the past month or so, we did communicate with them about what are the plans for AmericaFest as we do it every year. And initially we were told nothing has changed and the plan is as usual. And we said, sounds good. That's when we began to promote ticket sales. Again, I'm not trying to make it seem like we're principally responsible for them selling out or anything to that matter, just that we're a small component that will no longer be involved. Considering the fact that we did promote it, I want to make sure I'm being as transparent as possible. In the first year that we were invited to Turning Point, I was a bit, I've described this story before, reluctant to do so, in that it's very, very difficult. And it is asking a lot of anybody for us to try and bring us out. We have a crew of about 13 that comes with us. Seriously. We have to build a studio. We have to integrate with existing studios. We have to have coordination. There's PR and event coordination. There's a lot that goes into it. Not to mention me, my family. So we bring the crew with us. We don't need to bring literally everybody, but we do because we're better safe. It's better safe than sorry. We have to do the morning show and IRL throughout the week there, and then we do the special event on stage. And this first year, when Turning Point had reached out to us asking us to do it, I said it would be cool, but guys, I don't think it's possible. Charlie said, we got you. I said, okay, but we got to book these hotels and get the staff. And he's like, we will get you a private jet. And I was kind of shocked because to do that for me, I understand that I have a lot of followers and a big show and we get a lot of views, whatever, but we're nowhere near the biggest. We've never been. We have a big show. We do a big live stream, but a big live stream is not a big live. It's not a massive audience. It's a big live audience. So while Timcast IRL averages maybe 600, 700,000 per night, there are many more creators, personalities getting 3 million or more. So I can respect. I'm not pretending like I don't recognize that we do have influence. But Charlie knew that we reach a different group, that we're not the staunch suit-wearing conservative types. And there was something to this movement that he was willing to move mountains for. Each year that we came back, it was better. The second year we went, the first year was a little rushed. There was no, hey, Tim Pool's here, anything like that. They did put us in the promo material last minute. But the second year, they had these video edits of me. It looked really amazing. And it made me feel like part of the cool kids. You know what I mean? Like Charlie was the popular kid. He had built this thing. He had the charisma, the style, the gumption. And he said, no, you're with me, brother. And I was like, wow, look at me. I mean, Timcast is some little island off in the middle of nowhere. You know what I mean? To be invited to be a part of this big movement, I am eternally grateful for the honor to have been involved. The third year was even better. Memories, man. Ian falling off the stage, us sitting with Tucker Carlson. It really was something truly incredible. And that's why it hurts that we're not going to be there. So I've been informed that comments I had made on the Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub podcast were hurtful to some people at Turning Point USA, and for that, I would not be invited back. The comments in question were pertaining to the conspiracy theory that the highest levels of Turning Point, the executives, had intentionally murdered Charlie Kirk, and that they were celebrating and they wanted to take over. This is the conspiracy theory. I do not believe that's true. I have encountered many people who have said to me that these individuals who, I'm going to avoid saying names, but I think you know what I'm talking about. They're too happy. They're not grieving properly. They're celebrating. They're gloating about their viewership. And in response to this, as someone, as I consider these individuals to be friends, I had responded, and you guys can watch the podcast for yourself. Maybe, maybe I could have spoken better. I don't know. But the gist of my idea is, I believe it is absurd to assume or to imply that individuals at Turning Point murdered their best friend or husband, whatever the implication may be, because Charlie was the man who built this thing up and made it all. And many people had great jobs, great salaries. Some even made lots of money. Why would they kill their own friend over this? I think that's silly. And the reality is, behind the scenes, there are many people who fear Turning Point USA cannot survive without Charlie Kirk. It's not a secret. People inside the organization know this. Prominent personalities know this. And I will say, nobody really wants to say it. The point that I had made on the Callen and Schaub podcast was that they're trying to put on a strong face to say to the world, we will not be defeated. Terrorism will not stop us. And so they're displaying strength and trying to show that they're not going to be deterred. From this, there have been individuals who have then inferred or used it to say, aren't they acting weird? Shouldn't they be grieving? And then implying that potentially they're involved in some way. And so I think it's fair to say, I'm not involved with Turning Point. They're friends. But the truth is they are grieving. They do have fears. They do have worries, but they're showing strength for you. I was told that this was offensive, I guess, and it goes against the vision of what they're trying to portray. And for that, there was no intention to invite me back following my statements in this regard. Well, okay. Guys, no, I'm not going to get mad at anybody for not doing me a favor. It's not my party. I'm not an organizer. I'm not a donor. In fact, it was expensive for them to bring my show out there. I think the reality of this is maybe we don't see eye to eye and they don't like that I said that. And that's fair. Nobody has to just accept things that I say and be nice to me. I do think that a core element of this is, though, Charlie may not have liked everything about me. I don't know. But he was a good guy and he knew how to lead. I think ultimately, whatever Charlie thought of me, he saw value in the audience that watches my show. And I think it has to do with we are principally disaffected liberal types, creatives, former liberals that have found more in common with the conservative movement. And thus, we bring a message, much like libertarians, to the conservative side. We bring a certain percentage that will help the conservative side win. And I want them to. I agree they should. I wish we had more political competition. But that seems to be not the vision, at least right now. Or perhaps it's just they don't operate in the same capacity that Charlie did, willing to be more amicable to other individuals. If they don't like what I have to say, then again, I am owed nothing. I owe them nothing. They owe me nothing. Now, initially, when I went to Phoenix, we did Timcast IRL for a week at the Turning Point Studios. I joined the Charlie Kirk Show, and we even fused Timcast IRL with Thought Crime, which was Charlie's nightly show with Czech Posobiec. We did it all together, and I thought everything was going pretty well. And I had asked the team there if the plan, was going to stay the same. They said, yes, the plan will stay the same. And I said, okay, sounds good. They did express to me, it's hard to do Timcast IRL. It's expensive. It's rough. And I agreed. I didn't want to imply that they were hurting or didn't have money or couldn't afford it or whatever the issue might be. I don't know. But it's expensive to bring out our whole production crew and set up a podcast on stage and hire a company to set up all the cameras. And so I had offered some options and alternatives. I said we could do a shorter show, a bridge show. We could do a weekend show. We'll figure it out. But I was told last week that basically the hammer dropped that, we'll try and see if we can have you here, but what you said was particularly hurtful, so we didn't intend on asking you back. And I'm still in communication with these guys, and, there's no circumstance where we're screaming at each other or anything like this. However, we got a message the other day saying that, look, it's just that we're full at this point, and, we'll talk to the team to see what we can figure out. And I talked with my team. I talked with some people at Turning Point, and I said, guys, we're a month out from this. This is not something where we can just now at the last minute decide you've booked up, you're full, you didn't want to have me there. That's okay. Then I won't be there. You know what I mean? I was asked to wait and just not say anything and then just do my thing and let people, I don't think that's fair to those that expected us to be there. I don't think it's fair to those that we told to buy tickets because we expected to be there. And ultimately my decision was, while it is fair to say, and I think this is important, there certainly are higher ups at Turning Point who said, Tim, we're going to get you there. We want you there. My reaction was, listen, over the past several months, we have been, I understand since Charlie was killed, we haven't, we didn't immediately just say, hey, what's going on? But we have been polite in our messages saying we're really hoping to get the scheduling information because Christmas is coming up. And it's always every year we need to figure out what we're doing with family, how we're booking travel. Is it going to be covered by Turning Point or otherwise? And we are constantly just being told, we'll let you know. Well, as of yesterday, being told once again, we're full, but we'll let you know. I talked with my team and I said, I think we have to make a decision. And after talking about it, we said, if the response was they didn't want us there, then I don't think we should put any pressure on them to have us there. It's not my party, and I don't want to be a part of something that, at the very least, is not unanimous in their decision of whether or not Timcast IRL should be a part of this. If there's anybody at the higher ups who said, we're not inviting you, Tim, then my response is like, bro, I'm not a party crasher, and far be it from me to make any phone call or tell you, you have to have me. I don't play that game. We certainly have a bunch of opportunities we're pursuing, and there's other things that we're going to be doing for our end of the year finale. I just think that, my conversation with some of these guys was all good things. All good things. Behind the scenes, there is infighting to which people don't realize is particularly severe. Prominent personalities are unwilling to discuss what their concerns are, and I feel like this is damaging to the movement. I am a small island of a weird space. I'm not a staunch conservative, suit-wearing guy, pro-life, or whatever, any of those things. But we do have bridges to these other networks, and we hope to succeed because Trump represents something better than the alternative. It does feel like beyond this, with the Tucker Carlson controversy around Turning Point, with the Candace Owens controversy pertaining to Turning Point, this was the glue. Turning Point was the glue that held everything together, and it's breaking apart. I genuinely believe it was because Charlie was the one who did it. I believe that Charlie would text back everybody. He would assuage fears. He would negotiate and coordinate. And I really do think he made almost all of this possible. Because I got to give some credit to Donald Trump for being who he is. And now with everything I'm seeing, I think the vision has changed. My personal opinion is, many people have asked me, don't say anything, because they're concerned the story of the infighting is going to inflame. But I believe that I think the views and the vision of what we represent and what the movement is going to be is something just very, very different for a variety of reasons. One, that Charlie was holding things together, finding the points of unity between America First, neocons even, of course, it's a big issue, as well as disaffected liberals. And now there's a question of this. What is America Fest? What is Turning Point? What is the movement? And who should be allowed in it? There are questions of whether Tucker Carlson should be allowed in it. Certain individuals have been very critical of Candace and Tucker, labeling them anti-Semites. Even Megyn Kelly by the Babylon Bee. They made a joke about, I do think this is important in this context. The Babylon Bee made a joke that said, out of an abundance of caution, Megyn Kelly throws away her pager. And the joke was that Israel would kill an American citizen who speaks out against them. Many of the pro-Israel individuals on X said, no, the joke is that she's paranoid that Israel would kill her. I disagree. The satirical article, which is a joke and I have no problem with, ended by saying that Megyn Kelly's dumpster exploded. The joke was Israel tried to murder Megyn Kelly. I'm not trying to rehash drama related to the Megyn Kelly thing, but to point out that there is a massive rift between prominent personalities as to what the future of this movement will be. Will it support military aid to Israel as a principal issue or just military intervention and foreign aid? Will it be America only? Not even America First. Will it include pro-choice, disaffected liberals who dress like this, play music, and aren't staunch conservatives? I do believe that there is a strong element right now that they're closing ranks. And since Charlie's murder, leadership has a different vision. And that is, my vision of what Turning Point becomes in the future is that it's not going to be this big tent movement that invites Cenk Uygur, Tim Pool, James Lindsay, and others onto the stage. Despite my criticisms of James Lindsay, I can still point out Charlie Kirk, of course, was willing to bring on people of different views. I think that if you look at the controversy, drama, and statements that we have learned about, partly through Candace Owens is revealing of text and things, whatever your opinion may be, I think you start to realize that donors want a certain mechanism. And I wonder this. The threat we faced from woke, and what is woke? The cult-like orthodoxy of the left, the adherence to their worldview, their manipulations, their lies, whatever it may be. It was amorphous, but it changed. But the threat we faced from a political group that was willing to do literally anything so long as it's opposed to you was Serious. Opening the borders to anybody, giving away our manufacturing, giving children sex changes. It's important to unify if we're going to defeat a greater evil. But what happens when you do? This was always inevitable. I had stated this years ago. I fully expect at some point that I will be not considered right-wing. I'll be considered left-wing. The things will change and movements will change. And it's even funny now to see Anna Kasparian, of all people, talking about how she likes watching Candace Owens. Because these things change. What I mean to say is, with the principal demise of woke, and we can see the Democrats are kind of routed. Socialists are taking over. Chuck Schumer's on the way out. AOC might primary him. And things are getting pretty weird for the Democrats. They don't have a backbench. Who's going to be their candidate in 2028? The sentiment starts to become, we no longer have a unified enemy. So a disaffected liberal type, centrist, moderate like myself, well, now the debate isn't so much what is Bud Light doing? What is Target doing? What is TLC or Disney doing? No, a lot of these programs have been crushed. It's harder to get donations. It's harder to sell the movement when you no longer have a grand enemy. The left still has their Trump, but it's not enough for the average person. Thus, debates form. Individuals on the right might say something like, we need to now focus on stopping the flow of money to foreign countries, Israel in particular, which is a big issue for Candace and Tucker, of course. But then there are individuals on the right who are very, very adamant that we continue to fund Israel. And thus, the rift begins. You now have anti-Zionist, pro-Zionist, anti-Semitic as a portion as well. America First, international globalists, John McCain-style neocon, all of these rifts start to emerge because we are not focused on a singular enemy. As the Democrats have largely been routed, Republicans won every facet. And here we sit asking ourselves, what is the next big move? The moderate conservative types, more likely neoconservative, are in favor of Trump's H-1Bs. The America First anti-interventionists, a part of this coalition, are very much opposed to H-1Bs. Libertarians are taking issue with Trump's stance on Israel, as well as foreign funding, and thus the cracks begin. So I don't take it personally. I think this is just what happens. Behind the scenes, I feel that there is an effort to resist this change, and I can respect it. We don't want the movement to break because there is a power in unity that will allow us to win, and we have to win the midterms. Democrats haven't just ceased to exist. So there are many individuals who have spoken with me and said, Tim, please just say nothing and keep doing your thing. There have been individuals who said, we will intervene on your behalf and make them invite you. And my answer is, that's never been me. I'm not one to play those games. I want Turning Point to succeed, and I have no doubt this year will be the biggest and the best. And if I'm not invited because of how leadership views things, then, hey, look, man, as I've always said, I really have no problem living in a van down by the river. We'll make it work. I do my thing. I do what I do. And that's it. I feel like the movement is breaking apart because we've won largely. So it's not really bad news, but there is something to pay attention to. So in that, as people have pointed out to me, maybe we shouldn't say anything, please, Tim, this infighting is really bad. I'll tell you, I've had journalists reaching out to me, and I'm like, how do they know what's going on? No, seriously, I've had a journalist, they're messaging me, I think people internally at Turning Point, of course, have been talking. It's fairly obvious considering Candace Owens seems to have sources. There are concerns over what happens to the biggest political organization. Considering views are changing and what is considered to be the most important element, we don't agree on. You know what really breaks my heart in this is that last year, and I had been talking to Charlie about this, that I said AmFest might be the new South by Southwest. The Daily Wire had a party. James O'Keefe's party had lines out the door going down the street. And I said, I can't believe how many people you've brought together for this amazing thing. And we had discussed doing a Timcast party this year. And this was one of the reasons why we were asking them, hey, please let us know what the plan is. We wanted to have ancillary events as this got bigger and bigger. Maybe it will, and I hope it does. If that happens, Guys, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not upset. I'm sad that we won't be a part of it. I could have certainly applied pressure, but I'm not that guy. I don't make the phone calls and say, hey, man, you tell them they better have me. I don't do that. As I said, when it came to the Joe Rogan thing, when the first time I was supposed to go on Joe Rogan, he canceled on me. The second time, he canceled on me, leaving me high and dry. And I said, listen, I'm never going to get mad at someone for not doing me a favor. My attitude is, if something happens, it's always your fault. I know it's not literally true, but that's how I approach things, which means I have to do my best, focus on what I have to do to succeed for myself, not rely on other people, nor force other people to do anything for me. If this is where we end up, it is just what it is. I want more people on the right to speak up about what they see happening with Turning Point, because if we don't rip the Band-Aid off now and speak out about this division and why we are fighting, it's going to get worse. The critiques, the concerns, I'll tell you this behind the scenes, related to everything you've seen with Candace and Tucker, otherwise, it's much, much more than anyone realizes, and everyone's trying to be diplomatic. But at a certain point, I think it behooves any one of us to say, guys, it's not getting any better. It's a slow roll. Let's assess this right now, be honest with the people who rely on us, who watch us, who expect from us that there is serious infighting, much worse than people realize. And it's not my business to call out individuals' issues, but my own, which is what I'm doing, because if we don't, then we will find ourselves in a midterm wondering why we are not unified and why we are losing an election, or why we lost, why Republicans lost these past couple of months. Here's my expectation. America Fest this year is going to be crazy. It's already sold out. It's massive. They're full up. They got tons of speakers. I think people are going to have an amazing time, and I hope you guys do, and I hope they succeed. I hope they grow bigger and better than ever. I know people who make podcasts about true crime drama, and I know people who make podcasts about cooking. Other people succeeding has never been a detriment. I've met people in my life who have betrayed me, and I'm not going to hold a grudge against somebody. I don't want to waste my thoughts and energy on those other people. Now, as for Turning Point, perhaps they view it as my comments were a betrayal of them. And that's fine. They can think what they want to think. There are certain members of Congress who are mad at me and refuse to come on the show. Not Republicans, mind you, because I've very, very much criticized them. It's going to be what it is. It's going to be what it is. Just know this. When all is said and done, I want to win. I know you do too, and we should. And it was a dream come true while it lasted. But now something different is happening, and things are changing. And I don't know what that means, but it's always to be expected. A new generation is rising up, and they have deep concerns about Donald Trump. Gen Z is breaking away, and the pollsters are showing this. Prominent conservatives that are, I'm not trying to be derisive, but who float into the neocon camp, don't care that young people are drifting from Trump. They're going to maintain the pro-foreign policy intervention message because they believe in it. And they're allowed to. But I think younger people are concerned over the mission and message of Donald Trump, and I think this will have a negative impact on us. But what do you do? If people aren't unified by this, what do you do? Turning Point maybe sees this, and I'll tell you my thoughts on this one. I wonder if I represent an anti-interventionist faction. Tucker Carlson does too, as does Candace Owens. And I wonder if that's the real reason. I've not said anything particularly disparaging about AmFest, but they told me I couldn't come. Why? Maybe it's because I said we should stop funding Israel. Maybe it's because I said we shouldn't be giving money to Ukraine. Maybe it's because young people largely don't want foreign intervention, and there are individuals in politics who disagree. So I will say this. I've been given the official reason. I had made hurtful comments. Maybe. I had been told they're full. Hard to do. Perhaps. Tucker Carlson is expected to speak there. Maybe it's just it would be too difficult to cancel him. Candace Owens certainly would not be speaking there. But I do wonder if one of the main reasons is that there is an effort to consolidate around a pro-interventionist liberal economic order faction. The use of Tim Pool is no more. We don't need a disaffected liberal who's anti-war and anti-intervention. That's not what the movement needs. The movement needs those who are going to champion foreign investment and foreign intervention. I'm not saying that's definitively why it happened, nor am I trying to cast aspersions, nor impugn the honor of anybody. But I think one of the principal rifts right now is that young people do not care about our involvement in these foreign countries. They want to know how they're going to buy a house and have a family. But I believe if you're going to change this, you need an organization that reaches students that's going to advocate for a worldview that sees it the other way. And so maybe. I'm sure there will be many thoughts, critiques, commentary. I'm sure there will be lies, manipulations, insults, insinuations, all those things. I don't know. I'm going to do my thing. And that is I'm going to play music, skateboard. I'm going to play poker, watch cartoons, play video games. And I'm going to read the news and discuss what I'm passionate about forever. And we'll find unity where we do. But I wouldn't be surprised to find that the factions diverge further in the coming months and become something totally different. Anna Kasparian praising Candace Owens. Who saw that one coming, right? But it's because our worldviews are not absolute. Certainly the woke people just fall in line because that's kind of the element of, that's like the core of woke, right? But for those of us that have been deemed on the right, we all actually disagree quite a bit, but we were unified around a common enemy. This cult-like adherence to the corporate orthodoxy, the liberal orthodoxy, and now that seems to be largely shattered, so what's going to happen? Well, there are some people that say Tucker shouldn't interview Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes says nasty things. There will be some people that believe in free speech and say Tucker can interview whoever he wants. There will be some people who believe that Turning Point murdered Charlie Kirk. It was an inside job. I think that's probably not correct. Very unlikely. But they're going to say don't platform these people. We recently booked Nick Fuentes. He canceled on us. And I wonder if that has something to do with it as well. Nobody attacked us. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me clarify. What I was going to say is that we didn't have Nick on, and so we didn't get a big backlash. We were, however, minorly insulted and attacked because we did plan on booking Nick Fuentes. Perhaps that's a reason why we're no longer to be involved. Now, some might say that's not true. They're having Tucker there. Yeah, but Tucker is, 100 times bigger than us? Come on. It's easy to say, thanks, Tim, have a nice day. It's not as easy to say no to Tucker. And so part of me feels like that may be the real reason. I don't know. You know, the answer that I was given, that me saying, quote, there are people that are concerned Turning Point can't make it without Charlie, that's the reason. I really find that hard to believe. But who am I? And what do I know? So listen, guys, I'll wrap it up. I've had so many people telling me what to say and what not to say. And I'm like, guys, every time you tell me how I should handle this, it just makes me want to go nuclear. I'm so sick of the politics. Tim, you can't come off weak. Tim, you can't make it look like you're being over emotional. You can't make it look like you're sour grapes. Guys, I don't care. I can say whatever I want to say, and people are going to think about me whatever they want to think about me, and that's always been the case. And it will always be the case that sometimes I say dumb things and look like a moron. I got goofy teeth, I'm bald and wear a beanie. I get it. I'm too old to skateboard or play guitar. It's who I am. People tell me you're a degenerate for playing poker. I love poker, and I'll never deny who I am because of what other people think. And if that means people don't want to watch, so be it. You were never under any obligation to like me. But to those that do, or to those that don't like me but still think it's valuable in listening to me, this is for you. You have my tremendous respect, and I think that worldview would lead us to great success. The acceptance, the challenge, the debate, all of these good things. So whatever. I'm not here to craft a PR statement. I didn't script anything. I think it is what it is. I think it's important that I tell people what I'm thinking, and this is all kind of a culmination of a lot of different stories. Notably, first and foremost, me telling my team, guys, I think we need to tell people that we're not going to be there. Like, we have a month out, we can't book this. And yeah, I'm a little hurt, I guess. I wish I could be there. I don't want to put pressure on anybody and tell them they have to have me, nor pull any backroom deals. It's not my business. It's not my party. I don't need to be there if they don't want me there. No one owes me anything. I am never going to demand of you, you work for me or you give me stuff. It was an honor of a lifetime to have been involved as we were. I feel like there were people who were trying to put pressure on my behalf to get us to come because they're concerned it would look bad if I came out and said we weren't going to be there. And I'm just like, I get it. But I don't play those games. I'm not here to hurt anybody, offend anybody, damage anybody's business or movement. I think transparency is important, and I say it in a way that I think is reasonable. I have continually defended Turning Point. I think these conspiracies about them killing Charlie are absurd. I think, clearly, as you can see from this, I feel like the change in vision may be an ultimate detriment. That's what it is. They're who they are. I am who I am. I look forward to having debates with them on my show, should they still be willing to come, be it the left, the right, or otherwise. We'll see. But I have fears. I have been told that as I've criticized people on the right, I've been attacking people. But when I criticize people on the left, I'm not. I've had people say that to me. I have had communists who advocate for child sex changes on my show, and no one's concerned about that platforming. Well, it's because I argued against them. I had phone calls from people saying I should never have Kanye, Nick Fuentes, or Milo on. How could I? But I challenged him, pushed back, and he stormed off the show and then said, oh, that was actually a good job. So I don't understand this world where they say you can't have Nick Fuentes on. Had him on already. I don't understand this world where they say Tucker is bad and he's got to be deplatformed and donors are going to pull out. I'm like Charlie. Charlie said, okay, try me. The more you push, the more I push back. Charlie was 100 times bigger than me, and he built something substantially much, much larger. But you know what, guys? I'm a rogue, not a paladin. That's what I told Matt Walsh. I do my thing. I do what I believe is good and true, and I hope it helps you, and I appreciate that you guys support me the way you do. Thank you all so much for your continued support. To the people who are involved with Turning Point, I still consider you guys my friends. This is just what it is, and I hold no ill will or animosity, and a little jealous. You know, 'cause I know you guys are going to have an amazing event, and it's going to be the biggest and the best, and I think people should go and enjoy themselves. And I hope in the future it stays the same. I will also end by saying to those of you behind the scenes who have grievances, doubts, concerns, you best speak now, because you cannot just ignore all of the infighting and the drama and what's happening, as it'll only make things worse. So there we go, my friends. That's about it. Shout out to the career, shout out to my friends. It's been a heck of a ride. I look forward to next year and the coming shows. We're live again tonight at 8 p.m., and I'll see you all then.